So apparently GoFundMe has removed the crowdfunding campaign to cover the bail of Darrell Brooks Jr., you know, the psychopathic terrorist YouTube rapper who plowed his SUV through a parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin, killing 6 at this point, injuring dozens more, and horrifying this entire country. This, of course, all happened at a Christmas parade. If you played this scenario out in a movie, it would be considered stupid and over the top. But hey, welcome to Joe Biden's America. The fundraiser sought to raise a mere $5 million to cover Brooks's bail. The page was set up by James Norton, who claims to know Brooks personally and insists that Brooks was innocent. Now, folks, I refer to the cattle that fill the city streets throughout our lovely country, overwhelmingly being low-information Democrats, of course, as the low-IQ masses. Now, I've caught quite a bit of crap over that through the years. This is fine. It sounds offensive, I understand. That's just on the surface. But believe me, I traffic in leftist nonsense, or did for several years as a business, and business is good. The next statement is a pristine example of low-IQ leftist nonsense, typical of the masses. But we'll have to go through Mr. Norton's or Darrell's best friend's statement right after this quick commercial break to pay some bills. Friends, I'm going to point out the obvious. It seems like big government and big tech are trying to destroy America. Everything they touch turns into a disaster. Pretty soon the whole system will fall apart, and the first thing to fall will be the food supply chain. So, do you have enough emergency food to get through a serious long-term crisis where you can't get food at the grocery store? Most people don't, and they'll panic when the time comes. That is why the smart move now is to get long-term storage emergency food before things go bad. I highly recommend My Patriot Supply. They've served millions of American families and have over 41,000 4-star and 5-star reviews. Their mission is your survival, and right now you can save 25% on a 4-week kit of emergency food that will save the day, probably soon. Order a starter kit for each member of your family and they'll ship everything quickly and discreetly to your door. Go to preparewithresurgence.com so you can claim your 4-week emergency food kit and save 25% in the process. That's preparewithresurgence.com or hit that link in the description box. Okay, so where were we? Yes, Mr. Norton, Darrell's bestie. He stated in regards to the model citizen who just slaughtered half a dozen people in a Christmas parade, quote, as someone who knows Darrell personally, Darrell being the guy caught on, I don't know, maybe 50 different angles by camera phones, quote, I can tell you that he would never do such a thing. He would never do what he was just caught doing by, again, at least 50 different angles. He continues, quote, and I know he is innocent of what he was charged with, Norton wrote. He also claimed that Brooks could become, quote, another black man behind bars in a purely political and racist trial. Yes, as a true low-IQ leftist at heart, accused the local justice system, I presume, of doing exactly the same politicizing and racializing that you indeed are doing. But there's more. He continues. This is coming a little out of left field, but this reminds me of something my late grandfather always said to me growing up. He would say, CR. Well, he didn't really say CR. But anyways, he would say, it's better to remain silent and thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Unfortunately, the moron just kept going. Quote, there is no excuse for the continued treatment of black Americans by prosecutors around the country. Yes, there's simply no excuse for that damn justice system that keeps punishing the pointless murder of the innocent, both black, white, and everything else in between. Quote, everyone must be presumed innocent until proven guilty, and we ask that he be treated equally as anyone else in this country would be treated, and he should be released until found guilty, unquote. You know, folks, maybe this is why you shouldn't refer to a massacre of innocent people as an SUV crashing into a parade. Maybe this is why you shouldn't refer to a psychopath as a, quote, suspect. You see, folks, maybe, just maybe, when you treat a psychopathic murderer of color with kid gloves, the low-IQ masses eventually will respond in kind. Anyways, a GoFundMe spokesperson told the New York Post that it, quote, removed the fundraiser before any funds were raised because it violated GoFundMe terms of service, unquote. GoFundMe also said that Norton has been banned from using the platform for any future fundraising campaigns. Quote, "Fundraisers with misuse are very rare, and we take all complaints very seriously. Our team works with law enforcement to report issues and assist them in any investigation they deem necessary." Unquote. GoFundMe's terms of service prohibit raising money for the legal defense of any alleged violent crime. As a result, several fundraising campaigns for Kyle Rittenhouse were removed from the platform, but were eventually allowed after his acquittal. So basically, after he didn't need the money anymore. Go figure, GoFundMe. The site has nevertheless obviously unfairly enforced the ban on raising money for those charged with violent crimes, as it basically became the direct PayPal account for violent BLM and Antifa activists, while those for Rittenhouse were denied. Brooks had been out on the streets after posting a $1,000 bail for running over his girlfriend and causing injury. How nice. I'm sure in Mr. Norton's eyes he was perfectly innocent of that little lover's altercation as well. The absurdly low bail in that case has caused significant uproar and undermines the Democrats' criminal justice platform, which calls for bail reform. You may recall in the wake of the Minneapolis riots following the death of George Floyd last summer, the Minnesota Freedom Fund, MFF, raised millions of dollars to post the bail of arrested rioters. Even Willie Brown's ex-side piece, Kamala, promoted the fund. During the campaign, our drooler-in-chief also adopted the cause, claiming that cash bail, quote, "is the modern-day debtor's prison," and called for bail reform. The Waukesha massacre would have never happened had it not been for bail reform, which made it easy for this psychopath to get back on the streets. How many more Daryls are out there wandering the streets right now? Far too many, that's for sure. Most of this came by way of PJ Media. If you liked it, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment down below. There's a PayPal link in the description box, so please put $1 in the bucket on the way out the door. I'd like to thank everyone for all your donations. They're much needed and much appreciated. Now, with all that being said, we'll see you next time.
Come on, move. Move. Easy, easy.